Watching my clients step into freedom is probably the most incredible thing ever. It's like my greatest passion. My name is Ashley Maven. My background is in neuroplasticity, and I'm an emotional freedom and success coach. In most traditional therapies and most traditional coaching out there, they have people staring at the problem and the issue. For example, reviewing a trauma that someone went over and over and over again, trying to process it, hoping that it's somehow going to pull it out. So the mind actually isn't wired that way. Whatever you focus on over and over and over is what's actually going to strengthen. You can think of the mind kind of like a baby learns how to pick up a new object. So first, a baby learns how to hold on to a finger, right? We've all seen babies do that, where they hold on. But then, as they grow up a little bit and their eyes develop and they start to see a bright, shiny thing that they want to hold on to instead, what they do is they learn to pick up something new. They don't actually learn how to let go. They're not sitting there thinking, how do I let go of the finger? They just see that there's something else they want and they go to grab it. Most traditional therapies out there and coaching focus on trying to help people let go of fingers. But all that has them do is focus on the very thing they don't want. And so in the work I do, we actually are looking at the new thing where you'd rather be, the goal or the desire, and we help you pick that up instead. So I have a pretty interesting life story that is the reason I am who I am today professionally. Growing up as a kid, I had a lot of emotional suffering. My childhood was very traumatic for me, and by a young adult, I had every single possible imaginable label on me, like generalized anxiety disorder, depression, panic disorder, ADD, ADHD, learning disabilities, bipolar, PTSD, suicidal. Very young, as a child, I was told that I'd only ever be able to manage the symptoms of the suffering, that I would never be free. You can imagine how damaging that is for a child to hear. So I was in traditional psychoanalysis, psychology, therapy from starting at the age I was 5 years old to my young adult years. When I was a preteen, that was when psychoactive meds, psychiatric medications, were introduced to me. On the height of it, I was put on 11 psychoactive medications, if you can imagine that. So my strategy very young to overcome the suffering was I was going to live all my dreams. And if I could live all my dreams, then I believed I could be free of all the suffering. And by my young 20s, I had literally lived my bucket list. I wanted to be a professional horseback rider. I wanted to be a trainer. I wanted to be a coach. I had everything I ever said I wanted. And of course, I had moments of happiness, but I was carrying so many chains of suffering, and I was pretty miserable. And I remember one day having this moment where I was looking in the mirror, I was looking at all the pill bottles, and I was looking at all my ribbons, and I knew something really wasn't right. So that started my journey to figure this out, because I could not accept that I was born to suffer my entire life. And that is what led me on my journey to studying the field of neuroplasticity and how the mind actually works and how to create new neural pathways and new unconscious and conscious resources. And that actually ended up being the biggest blessing in my life, because I learned how to be completely free of the emotional suffering. I haven't been on a psychiatric medication ever since that day, and I've lived completely free of all of the suffering patterns and all those labels that have been put on me very, very, very young. And so naturally, people started asking me to help them do the same, and that's how I transitioned from the horses to helping people. I am very blessed that I get to help clients from all over the world with all sorts of different issues that they come to me, because the work I do, the core transformation is all the same to the mind. So people might come to me for depression or anxiety or trauma. They might come to me just because they know there's more in life and they're tired, feeling burnt out, or that kind of mundane, apathetic withdrawn feelings of life, but I also have clients that come to me to overcome success limits, and that can be any area of their life, not just business. So it's really neat because I have clients all over the world. I have figured out a way to offer support virtually to all of my clients. So depending on your country or state, we will meet by phone or we will meet by Skype or something like that. What I have found from years of doing it this way, the benefits of doing it virtually are pretty incredible. I've noticed that when people would come to me in person, they'd always have their walls up and they'd always come to me trying to be really put together for me, and they lacked an authenticity that happens when it's virtual. So they don't have to put on a show for anyone. They can be in their bed, on the phone, telling me how it is in real life. So working with me is custom tailored. We get clear on where you want to move to, and then we get you there from the inside out. What it's not is a quick fix or some magical pill. What it is an incredible journey where you and I walk through life together, and I hold your hand, and we build these new unconscious resources together one by one by one, building that bridge, getting you from that old pond of suffering into that pond of your dreams and desires. If there was one thing that someone listening to this video walked away with, I'd want you to know that there's hope. I'd want you to know that no matter what you've told, you don't have to live in the chains of suffering. I'd also want you to know that I do not believe your dreams are a sick joke that weren't meant to be lived. I believe that your dreams are worth going after. And even though the dream might shift and change as you go for it better than you could have imagined, I believe it's worth going for.